Hey, hi, and howdy, sweet friends. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new. My name is Courtney, and I am a stay-at-home homeschooling mom, and my channel focuses on food and kitchen content. So if you're into grocery hauls and cooking meals, especially budget-friendly meals this week, then I'm your girl. Go ahead and stick around, hit the subscribe button, and drop me a comment below. All right, y'all, this week has a theme, and it is $10 dinners with leftovers. I know $10 sounds like a lot when you hear like Dollar Tree meals and stuff like that, and it sounds so much cheaper than this, but realistically, $10 for a meal that has leftovers so it will feed your family for at least 2 nights. It's a steal, y'all. So let's kick it off right now with this creamy chicken pasta. This is kind of my take on a TikTok dish, but we're switching it up just a little. As you can see here, I'm showing you some chicken. I bought it on sale, and that's the way to do it, y'all. Keep your eyes open for the sale prices and the discounts and the clearance things at your store, and that's how you stock up on meats and proteins for a really good price. Now, one of those packs of chicken, we're just going to call an average of $4 because somewhere in the $3 range, somewhere in the $4, and I'm only using half a pack of the chicken. You don't need any more than that, so technically we're using probably about $1.75 worth of chicken for this, and that is our protein. I'm going to season it really well. You can use whatever seasoning blend you like. A lot of people stick to things like Badia Complete and stuff like that, and that's fine. I'm just doing a blend of garlic and onion powder, a little bit of paprika, salt, and pepper. Don't need anything too terribly fancy. You can do a Kinder seasoning mix if you want. There's one that I absolutely love. But I'm just going to go ahead and saute those chicken tenders in the skillet and set them to the side. Now we're going to prep the stuff that's going to make our creamy tomato sauce. I've got some little grape tomatoes here. You can get these for, $2 and some change at Walmart these days, sometimes even cheaper during the summer when they're in season. So I just poured like a little container, I think it's about a pint or so, in there, and then I'm gonna season it with just different seasonings. You can kind of put whatever you have on hand on there. I'm a big fan of Italian seasoning, salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder. I also added in just a little bit of olive oil, and then I wanted to throw in some chicken bouillon, but I don't keep like broth or anything on hand, so I just added a little bit of water and then some of that chicken bouillon powder there. And we want to give this a nice stir, bring it all together. I added some lemon juice in for brightness. Some people don't like the acidity in their food. Some people aren't fans of lemon. You can skip that step, but I love it. So I just went ahead and tossed a little bit in there just to kind of liven this up a little bit. Tomatoes can get kind of heavy, and there's going to be a creamy element with this alouette cheese we're adding. So I just wanted something to kind of brighten it just a tad. That's the alouette cheese there. It's got tons of flavor. It's got bits of garlic and different herbs and stuff in there. And then it's a soft cheese. I don't exactly know what kind of cheese it really is other than a soft cheese. It reminds me of cream cheese, but I think it tastes far, far better. This little tub cost about $4. And so we've spent $4 on the cheese, $1.75 on the chicken, and about $2 and some change on the tomatoes. Everything else is stuff that most of us have on hand in our house aside from the pasta. So I just tossed all of that in the oven at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes. And now I'm just kind of testing it. You can see it's bubbling and it is hot. The tomatoes are soft. They're cooked all the way through, and that's what I'm looking for. And you can leave them whole if you like them whole. Some people do. There are some pasta dishes where I love little tiny tomatoes whole. For this one, I really wanted these tomatoes to just fully explode and let all their juicy goodness out into the sauce. And this little spatula I'm using there, not doing it for me. So I'm going to grab my meat masher here in a second. You guys know the one. It's the one that everybody has from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to kind of break these tomatoes up. You can break them up as little or as much as you want. In fact, you can even run this through like your food processor or something if you really wanted a nice smooth and creamy sauce. I'm a texture gal myself, so I'm just going to do this just to break them up. And it's really, really going to kind of make the sauce a bit richer. It thickens up when you do this. Of course, it changes the color, and I just love all that tomato goodness because they're sweet tomatoes. Once you roast them like that, their sweetness really, really comes out. So wonderful and delicious. This is our sauce right here. We don't have to do anything else. And honestly, this comes together so easily because the oven does 90% of the work for me. So while this was baking in the oven, I did go ahead and cook some pasta. You can use any kind of pasta you want. I just grabbed whatever was handy in my pantry, but you can buy all kinds of pasta at Walmart for about 98 cents a box. So that gives us a grand total that is far below $10. We've got $1.75 for the chicken. We've got $2 and some change. We'll say $2.25 for the tomatoes. So that's $4. And then we also have the alouette cheese, another $4. We're at $8 total plus $1 for the pasta. $9, y'all. $9. This is going to make 8 to 10 servings depending on how big you make your serving size. And of course, if you wanted to and you had some extra frozen or fresh veggies, you could throw those in there or on the side. If you have some bread, it doesn't matter if it's hamburger or hot dog buns or a loaf of bread, you can make some garlic butter at home, just regular butter with some garlic powder and some parsley in it. Bake it in the oven and you've got garlic bread. There's so many options for amazing sides that you can throw together with just things you have in your home. But this meal is a very big one. It's very hearty. You can go ahead and cube up your chicken and toss it in now if you want. I kind of keep mine separate so the coating of the chicken doesn't come off. That way all the seasoning that's on the chicken stays on the chicken. But you can do however you want to. This was so good and so flavorful and rich and creamy and absolutely delicious. That's what it looks like right there. I really advise you guys give this one a shot because it's easy, it's quick, it's delicious. And like I said, it's less than $10 and we ate this for technically 2.5 nights because it made leftovers plus some extra lunches. I will list the full recipe down below. All right, y'all, it is time for cabbage rolls. I know some people think of this recipe and are just kind of like yuck when they hear cabbage, but I gotta tell you, this one is so good. It is definitely comfort food to the max and it is so economical. All right, so we're gonna start off by taking a head of cabbage. I chose purple because it was cheaper than green at my store, but you can use whichever one's cheaper at your store. I just put it in a pot of boiling water and continuously rotate it until it is basically cooked halfway through because we only need about half of the cabbage. Then I will gently remove those leaves, just half of them, and you want to keep them intact. We're going to use these to roll up our filling on the inside. Once that's done, I just go ahead and set them to the side and let them finish cooling while I mix together our simmer sauce. So ideally what you want to do is get a 28-ounce can of stewed tomatoes or diced tomatoes at the store, but I have so many tomatoes on hand right now, I didn't want to have to buy any more, so I'm just using 2 smaller cans. But for reference, at Walmart, a 28-ounce can of stewed tomatoes is $1.48, so not expensive at all. To that, we're also going to add in some tomato sauce. Now, if you're using stewed tomatoes, mine were whole. I broke mine up with my meat masher. They're diced tomatoes, no worries. Crushed tomatoes would be fine as well. I'm also adding in 2 small cans of tomato sauce. That's 48 cents per can, so about $1 for those 2 cans together right there. I'm going to add in a box of raisins, just regular old cheap Walmart brand raisins, nothing fancy here. I know it sounds weird, but they really do something nice for the sauce. I like it quite a bit. Raisins run about, we're going to use about 15 cents worth of raisins here and another 15 cents in the meat mixture. They're about 15 cents per box. I also threw in a little bit of brown sugar. Whatever sweetener you have on hand is fine, whether it's like agave syrup or honey, brown sugar, regular old white sugar, any of it will work. You just want something sweet to kind of combat the acidity of the tomatoes. And then you want to season this. I kind of keep it pretty basic: salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. Then you could throw in Italian seasoning if you want. I'm actually going to just do thyme and oregano myself, but you can do any kind of Italian themed spice blend that really, speaks to you. We're also going to want to add in 2 cans worth 28 ounces of beef broth, but I don't keep that on hand. I keep bouillon on hand. So I added in 2 cans worth of water plus some beef bouillon powder. And here's where I'm throwing in my herbs right here. Again, Italian seasoning would be great. No worries if you don't have it. You can skip it altogether. You don't have to have herbs in there. I'm also throwing in some parsley just because I kind of throw it into a lot of things. I don't know. I like it. I just really do. So I toss some in here as well. Giving everything a nice big stir. I did throw in half of an onion and a scoop of my confit garlic, but you could just stick with garlic and onion powder. No worries. I'm showing you there, I did buy my meat on markdown, $3.36 for that pound of ground beef. That is really how you save money. Buy it when you see it, stick it in your pantry, and it's ready to go. You're ready to cook with it. It does save money if you buy now and just have it ready for later. So to the meat, we're adding in an egg. An egg runs probably about 20 cents or so. The other half of my onion, another box of raisins. I'm also throwing in some more Worcestershire sauce. And then I have some soy sauce in my pantry. I threw some in. It's like a really deep, rich flavor. You could just stick with salt. but there is something a little extra that comes with soy sauce. So if you have it, or maybe you save some packets of it from when you got some Chinese takeout, just toss a little bit in there. And then we want to season this just like we seasoned the stewing mixture. So I've got some salt and pepper, garlic and onion powder. I'm using the same herbs, and then I threw a little bit of beef bouillon in there. So this is a trick that I'm taking from some other people that I've seen cooking Mexican food on YouTube. Instead of adding salt, it's like this really big flavor bomb, and it is salty. So I'm giving it a shot, and I got to tell you, I'm going to use this tip from here on out. It was great. Then I tossed in 1 cup of just plain old white rice that runs about 45 cents, and I gave everything a nice good stir. And what I'm going to do is take a big scoop of that mixture and then roll it up in my cabbage leaves, just like you see me doing here. Nothing fancy. Kind of do a burrito roll on it. You don't have to be super tight with it or anything. You just want to make sure not to tear the leaves and to keep the filling like all inside of the cabbage leaf. And I'm just going to keep rolling until I run out of filling and leaves. This makes so much. So basically we took 1 pound of meat and turned it into almost 2. By adding the rice and stuff like that, this creates a lot of meat mixture, and it's so good and so flavorful, y'all. It is just fantastic. If you like meatloaf, I really think you're gonna like this. If you like stuffed peppers, I think you're gonna like this one. So once I have them all rolled, I just stick them inside of that cooking liquid. I try to press them down and make sure that they're fully covered, and then I put a lid on and I just boil this or simmer it for about 30 to 40 minutes so that the meat and rice are cooked all the way through, and that's what it looks like. The liquid does cook down. In total, I spent a little bit under $9 worth of ingredients on this recipe. I did serve it with some German potato salad on the side, but you can serve it with whatever you have handy or just serve them on their own. So good, so delicious, so filling, and again, this made 3 nights worth of meals for my family. All right, our final recipe is chicken parm, and I'm just kind of playing off of something I saw somebody do online. I really want to say it was on TikTok, could have been Instagram. So I've got some just jarred pasta sauce. I chose marinara sauce for this. I poured about half the jar in the bottom of my baking dish there, and then I've got the other half of that pack of chicken tenders. So that's going to run us about $1.75 for the chicken here, plus about $1.62, I think it was, for the marinara sauce. I used the store brand. And I'm just seasoning it. You can season it with whatever seasoning blend you like. I'm using an Italian blend that I had in my pantry, but you could always use salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder. You could throw in some Italian seasoning. Just whatever you have is fine. Next, we want to top this with some cheese because it is chicken parm after all, and that is nice and cheesy. So I'm starting off with this Italian blend, and I used, it's $2.22 for the bag. I used far less than half the bag, but I'm going to be generous with the price and say $1 worth of cheese. But you can quite clearly see that that is way less than half of the bag. And then we also want to do a mixture of Parmesan and breadcrumbs. This is just the green shaker tub Parmesan, nothing fancy there. It's about 50 cents worth. And I'm adding some breadcrumbs to it. Now, if you don't have breadcrumbs, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. The Parmesan cheese on its own is fine, but I did have the breadcrumbs, so I probably used about 10 cents worth of them, and I'm going to sprinkle that on top of the chicken there. If you are new to my channel, one of the people in my house does not like cheese, so there are 2 naked chicken tenders in there for him so that he does not have to deal with cheese on his. But once we top this with the Parmesan breadcrumb mixture, I'm just going to pop this in an oven about 375 for about 20-ish minutes just to cook the chicken through. And y'all, it came out so tender and juicy because it was cooked in that marinara sauce. Absolutely fabulous. Next, we want to work on the pasta, and because we're cooking budget friendly, we want to make sure that we impart tons of delicious flavor. So I'm going to do a 1-pot pasta here because if you cook your noodles in the sauce, they taste so much better. So I've thrown in the other half of my jar of marinara sauce, then I filled it up with water and poured all the water in there. I also added in a can of diced tomatoes for 96 cents and a can of tomato sauce for 48 cents. I'm giving that a stir and throwing in some seasonings. I just use like a spaghetti blend seasoning, which is very similar to Italian seasoning. I threw in a little bit of olive oil. It could be butter. You could skip that stuff if you want to, but I do like a little bit of oil in there. Then I'm seasoning this with some garlic and onion powder as well. I like to throw in some Worcestershire sauce because I like the big beefy flavor that it brings to this, but I mean, you actually don't have to do that. That's totally optional. Then I'm taking a box of noodles and I'm just breaking them in half, which again is a huge no-no, but it's the only way they fit in my pot in order for me to make this a 1-pot meal. They have to be submerged in the liquid, so I have to break them. I did that. I'm giving everybody a good stir, making sure that they are all in the pool. We're going to pop the lid on and simmer this until the pasta is cooked through. No, that's all there is to it. Everything is done. That's what it looks like. And it tastes amazing because we cook the noodles in the sauce. This cost me less than $8 to make, and this made 2.5 nights worth of meals. So the chicken went a little quicker. I had 2 meals worth of spaghetti left over that I ate without any chicken, which is actually my favorite way to eat it, so no complaints from me. Ton of food for $8. So again, these are all super budget friendly, but also super delicious, and your family is gonna love them. Plus, you're cooking once and eating 2 or 3 times. How amazing is that? Vacation, right? All right, you guys, I hope you're having a fabulous weekend, and I hope the week ahead treats you wonderfully. I will see you guys back here on Tuesday with my grocery haul. Have a great one. Bye.